Well, my talk this morning is renewing your vision. I like to do this in spring when we're kind of wiping the cobwebs, right? Or a little spring cleaning happening. So I'd like to ask you, do you have a vision for your life? If not, you should think about getting one. A vision, yes, see Sherry. A vision is a plan of action for achieving the things you choose to be, do, and have in your life. A builder needs a blueprint. If you were going to build a house, you wouldn't just say, well, let's just put the bathroom over there and put the living room over there, I guess. Maybe, do we need a closet? Oh yeah, what about the kitchen? You don't want to have an afterthought. You know, you kind of want to go in knowing what you want. You know, the infinite is waiting in quiet repose to be given direction by us. It won't just jump into your life and superimpose something without being asked. You must invite this energy in. If it could just jump in, none of us would need to be here because it would automatically be doing exactly what needs to be done all the time without our knowing it. But we need to invite it in. The blueprint always needs to be updated as you go along too. Sometimes when you get to the job site and you have a blueprint and you start working the blueprint, there needs to be an amendment made. Sometimes the specifics or the specifications are off just a little bit. Have you ever found that in your life? That the measurement that it says is supposed to go there is not quite right? And you must adjust things as you go, and life is that way. We need to adjust as we go along. We need to keep our vision up to date, or sometimes, and I've had times in my life where I had to get a completely new vision, where what I thought was the reality that I was supposed to be working within changed so completely that I had to change everything in my life. People, places, things, and ideas. I got to a point in my life where it was just me and my dog. Just me and my dog. And I was living in this little apartment, and my dog had separation anxiety, where every time I would leave him, he thought I was leaving him forever. So he would do things when I was gone. He, at one house, he ate, not just chewed, but ate the molding around the doors and the windows. Poor guy, you know, it's like we have a Snickers bar, you know, he chews stuff, right? And I had a specialist come in, you know, to work with the dog, right? And I finally got him trained where he was guaranteed to sit, stay, and heal. But the trainer said, you can take, you know, the dog out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the dog. And I finally had to, my sisters live in Eugene, and I finally had to have the dog shipped up to my sister so that he could run free with the other dogs on the horse ranch. So I was without the dog. Here I am crying at the airport, you know, waving goodbye to my last friend in the world, right? But it's what I needed at that time to completely start a new life. I had to get a new blueprint. Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no vision, the people will perish. He that keepeth the law, he is happy. So what is the law? The law is the way things work. The universal laws, the metaphysical laws, are that there is a power, and we have access to it when we invite that power into our lives. But we must invite it in. there are times when things don't go exactly as planned. Like our blueprint that we thought was supposed to be a certain way doesn't work. Without the vision, human beings are not only cease to be human, they cease to be. If we just wander, not all who wander are lost, but we need to have some sort of movement to a goal. We need to have some goals. So there is a process in our teaching called visioning. And right now I'm teaching it in the Foundations class. We just had a wonderful visioning session with our Foundations group. And these people are, they at first they're like, I can't vision. And then they're coming through with all these wow things. It's like, it's like saying you don't have an imagination. It's like, have a teenager out past 10 o'clock and your imagination can go wild, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? Or if someone you love very much is supposed to call you at a certain time and they don't, your imagination can go wild. That's what we do. That's why we communicate on a regular basis. So I just want to give you an outline of what our visioning process is. So when we pray, we usually have an idea of something more you want to be, do, or have. And we sit with that idea, and we go through the 5 steps of treatment, which is we acknowledge that there is a power. God is. We say that we are part of that power. We're not all that God is, but every cell of our being is God in form. It can be no other way. We are the expressions of God. And if we're expressions of God, we come with the same power of expression that God is. Each one of us is a divine creator of life. We get to choose our own favorite colors. You get to choose where you live, who you live with, usually. But you get that power. So there is a power and you are part of it. And then you choose what you want to be, do, or have. And you say it in an affirmative way. If you want something, you don't say, I want. Imagine that you already have it. Say, I am divinely employed. I am in perfect health. I love at depth. Rather than saying, I want to have someone in my life, because that denotes separation. When you automatically affirm something, even if you don't have it in your life, tell yourself you do. Tell yourself you do. And this states something very powerful to the infinite. I am prosperous. The universe gets very busy when you state something like that and believe it. It gets very busy rearranging the universe to allow that to be the truth for you. We affirm things not to make them happen, but because we already believe they are. And a good practitioner practicing the awareness of the presence treats let me rephrase that. They treat from having their demonstration, not to it, because to it denotes separation. From it denotes wholeness and oneness. So as we declare in the present moment what we choose to be, do, and have, then we go to step 4, giving thanks. Giving thanks is so important. Why? Because it proves you already believe that you have it. It's already yours. This is why Jesus the Christ would start his prayer treatments with, thank you, Father, for already giving me what I choose to be, do, and have, or for the healing that is taking place. He was the master practitioner. He knew how to use these principles. And the 5th step is release. We let go. Because if we don't let go, we hang on to it and we carry it around. It's like taking your car in to get fixed. And they say, okay, drive it up onto the ramp. Okay, now you sit over there. No, I want to sit with my car. I want to hang onto it. Or you hang onto a toy that needs to be fixed. No, let me hang onto it, and you pull it back before anybody can fix it and say, I knew you couldn't do it. You have to give it away, completely release it as an already demonstrated idea. You must let go and let God and walk on. So that's our broadcasting station in saying what we choose to be, do, and have. The other side is the receiving station, where let's say that we have a project that we're working on, or we want to move, or whatever it is we bring it to Spirit and we ask for that energy, and we say, I know that there's a power. I know that I'm one with that power. And I ask the infinite, what is the highest idea of this situation as already done? And then we listen. We sit still and we listen. And we have a piece of paper usually to write down what comes through. Write down. Maybe you get just a color or a term or a phrase or a one-liner. Write it down. Usually we ask, what must we embrace? What must we embrace to allow this new idea to fully come in? And something usually comes through like, you need to embrace your wholeness with all that is, or something in that term that you need to add to your tool belt to become. A good question is to ask, what must I release? What must I let go of for this vision to manifest? Because usually, and I've noticed this about myself, that I'm hanging on to something, some idea that has been blocking my inner flow. You know, I used to, damn it. You ever say that? Damn it. Well, what you're saying is for the infinite to actually block the inner flow, to dam, an actual dam of the inner flow of energy, which blocks things from coming in and out of our lives. Now I say, God bless it. How quickly we can change our tune, right? But we must be able to pivot that quickly to change our tune. It's just like if we were pulling in the driveway here and there's a pedestrian that's walking in front of our car, so we stop. And the person behind us, meh, 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 and you're like, hey, I'm stopping because of the pedestrian. And it's a friend of yours that's saying, hi, but we thought they were honking at us because we stopped for the pedestrian, and they're really honking because they wanted to say hi. How quickly we look in the rearview mirror and go, oh, hi. That's how quickly we need to change our minds when we've found that we've been blocking our inner flow. It's just like a bloodhound that's chasing a scent. You know, when they go on a scent, when they're locked into a scent, they go and they follow it. But when they get off the trail of the scent, and you can tell that they're kind of trying to find it, they're looking for that scent, and then when they find it again, they go right back into the scent, right? What do we do when we don't know where to go? Well, we get a book, take a workshop, we get therapy, call our practitioner. I'm off the path, I don't know what's going on. And that's what we should do. We should ask for help to refine the scent, to refine the way that works for us so we can get back on track. That's what visioning is about. It's about catching God's vision. The infinite has ideas that if we're open enough to listening to, it will always give us the answers. But we're so busy broadcasting that we don't have something that we can't hear. This whispers or the shouts of spirit. You know, the wisdom of the universe is always and constantly trying to get our attention. And once in a while we hear it. We get this one-liner that comes through, right? And we're like, we write it down. Or a book title or something like, I just need to let go of my anger about this situation and the healing can come in. But we're so angry about the situation, we can't see the forest through the trees. That's what that means. We're so blocked by our vision of challenge that we can't see the gift that this situation's trying to bring us. You ever been so blinded by your rage that you couldn't see that someone was trying to love you as best they could in the moment? This is where we need to spend some time alone and rethink some things. I had a situation where I had a roommate, and I thought that they had stolen something from me. And I was sure that they had, right? You know when you're sure that they had? And you do everything but accuse them. You ask them about the item. Have you seen this? You know, they're like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. You know that they're lying about it, right? And then weeks later, you find the item in your closet where you had left it, and you're like, oh, I've been treating them like they were guilty, and I was stepping on my own air hose. I put it away and didn't remember that I had. And I had some amends to make, right? But we have to be aware when we're doing stuff like that and hold those situations in love. Look at them differently. You know, and then I got to the point, if somebody really wanted to take something from me, they probably need it worse than I did. So it's okay. I have the consciousness to replace it. It's just a different level of consciousness to understand. So, start with the end in mind. If you're walking through something, let's say your health is not exactly what you want it to be, what would it look like as healed? If your financial situation isn't exactly where it needs to be, what would it look like if it were? If your relationship isn't working out exactly like you think it should be, hold in mind what you think it should look like. Maybe your creative genius is not awake right now. If you want, you know, if you ever have writer's block or artist's block where you just like, you can't break through, imagine what it would be like if you did break through. Just imagine that the block isn't there. What would you be doing? This is where we don't deny that we're walking through challenge. I just don't see it. It's just not there. That's just playing a silly little game with ourselves. We acknowledge that it's there, but then we ask, if it wasn't there, what would it feel like? What would a complete healing look like in your life so that if the challenge was completely gone, that you didn't even remember what the challenge was? Think about that. You know, when I was first introduced to that idea, part of me was going, wait, don't take my challenge away. If I can't have what I want, I can have the hurt of not having it. Oh, what am I thinking? It was called substitutionary fulfillment. You know, if I can't have what I want, I can complain about not having it, and then I kind of have it. Not really. I have the hurt of not having it. And then I got to the place where I can completely release it. The challenge brought exactly what was needed for my ultimate growth. It has come to pass, and it is over. Why am I still hurting from it? Because I remember too well. I must develop my forgettery. Right? My memory is just too chronic. It's so good, I can remember exactly what they did. And what they did, I'll never forgive them for that. Hello? What are you speaking? If you're never going to forgive something, you'll never be forgiven. We need to release and let go. Walk on as though it's already so. And this doesn't make them right. It makes you okay with growing through it. It doesn't make them okay for what they did to you. It makes you take your energy back, that you're healed from it, and you can walk on. They're no longer taking up real estate within your consciousness. That is the key to a healing. When you can say, you know what? They were acting out of their own inner hurting. But they're not going to hurt me anymore. I am free. Now, it may take a process of doing certain things to heal from that. And this is why this visioning process is so powerful. Because instead of going down into the valleys to get to the top, you can walk on just the mountaintops. You might have to hop a little bit. But sometimes there's lessons to be learned or something to be known about going down into the valley. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow, I shall not build a condo. I shall continue walking. I won't stop to take pictures. I will continue walking as quickly as possible so that I can get what I need so I can move through it. Go within and be still. Start writing down a list of the things you want to be, do, and have as already completed. I am abundant. I am in perfect health. I am exactly where I choose to be. Make your goals juicy. What I mean is, activate the other side of your consciousness. You know, you want to bedazzle your life. You know what I'm saying? You know those little kits you buy that, you stick on a beautiful little gem onto your jeans and all of a sudden it's bedazzled? You want to bedazzle your life like that. You want to, you don't want to just get through. You want to get through with ease and grace and love and not have this residual energy afterwards that maybe you did it wrong or what if I had or aren't they awful? So it's a different consciousness to move into. Always be on the side of the solution. It's not who did, it's how can we make it better now. The question of who is just going to be a cause of the cause of the cause. What can we do now to make this better and move in the direction of the solution? Move in the direction of your dreams. So I want to tell one last little story about my dad. Of course, my dad stories are my favorite. I was in the Indian Guides, which is, it's kind of like the Boy Scouts, but it's, this YMCA thing. And we're having these little kits that you buy with a little race car. It's a block of wood and a bunch of wheels and, everything you need to build a little race car. And then on one Saturday, everybody gets together and there's these long tracks that they race them on. And there's prizes for, creativity and paint job and fast and, all these little prizes they give out. Well, we had carved it together, and I did okay. I thought, it looked more like the block of wood you get out of the thing, and I kind of painted it with what I could. What I did, as a 7-year-old or whatever I was. And it was the night before the race, and my dad, when I went to sleep, I woke up the next morning and he had recreated it into this awesome little car. I mean, it had wings, and it had he'd taken in one of my other toys that had a driver, and he put a driver in it, and he had put some weights on the bottom of it to make it a little heavier, so it was fast, and he painted it red with flames on it. And that was my vision of the car, right? When I went to bed the night before, it didn't quite look like that, but my dad had taken it, and, he wanted his kid to have the coolest car around, right? And I didn't win any trophies, but I won the feeling of having a really cool little car. And my dad did that for me. And it was that love that we shared a project, and really he let me do my project, and then he recreated my project. And when I got up the next morning, I was just like, whoa, is that even the same piece of wood? Because it looks so cool. But it was that bonding experience that I had with my dad that I wanted to share with you guys. There's something about when we have a love and we can do something for somebody else. And I just invite you to bring those times to your consciousness where you might be able to do something for somebody else. It's a very powerful place to be, and it's a very deep love to share. So in conclusion, a vision is a plan of action for achieving the things you choose to be, do, and have in your life. The builder needs a blueprint, and you need to be flexible with changes that may come into your life that affect this blueprint. But it's time to build something now for yourself. If not now, when? If not you, who? What changes are you ready to make in your life to manifest your dreams? And so it is. So it's time for our healing prayer. So let's just follow our teaching and let's go within and remember who we are. So I remind myself, and I invite you to remind yourself of what you believe the power of creation is to you. When I stand on the beach and I see that vast body of water and I hear the waves crashing down, I know that I'm not doing that, but there is a power that is. And when I look up at the night sky and I see countless stars, I know I didn't do that, but I know that the power that created everything did that. And I know that as the infinite creates a star, it has created this plane of existence, this thing called Earth, and everything in it has been created by that same wisdom. And each one of us is a part of it, not apart from it, but we are it in expression. As we look upon our lives and see the things we choose to be, do, and have, and we see them as demonstrated ideas, we call in the healing. We call in the revealing of the truth. Whatever your prayer is, I know that the action of the universe is right in the midst of it as we call forward the healing, the peace, and the love in each situation. And something wonderful begins to happen. God doesn't make any spare parts. Each one of us is intricate and part of the makeup of the entire universe. So I call in the healing now. I may not know what your prayer is, but I know that God knows. And I know that God is right there. And as we activate that healing power of the energy of the universe, connections begin to be made. Healing begins to happen. Letting go of what doesn't work begin to dissolve back into the nothingness from which it came. And love is the venue in which we all live. Love is the key, and love is everything. It is the very glue that holds everything together. If we ask why the atom is, the answer to every question is always love, because it loves it. So as we introduce love into all of our so-called challenges and situations, love begins to sprout and to blossom and to grow. So for this and so much more, I am so blessed, so pleased that we take these into our lives in a way that we acknowledge that power, saying thank you, divine energy of love, as we completely release and let go. As we affirm together by saying, and so it is.